All right, people. All right. What's going down? What's going down? What? Let me just check. All right. First of all, first and foremost, bring this up here. I've got to change this layout, by the way. In front of me, that which you can't see. Let me just see. Bring this up. That's better. All right. So, what is going on? All right, let me just check. People. Right, I was supposed to have some more moderators that I'd spoken about. And I've just been so distracted all week. Right now, what is going on? Let me just bring up Facebook. Me Facebook gente, what's going on with them? And then we is good to go, people. For some reason, Facebook always has a delay in loading on this platform. All right, there it is. Let's get this show on the road, people. إن الحمد لله وكفاه والصلاة والسلام على رسوله المصطفى وعلى عباده الذين ارتضى ومن بهداهم اهتدى وبآثار أهل المدينة اقتفى وبعد فالسلام الله على القوم أهلا وسهلا بكم ومرحبا Huanying Layth all the way from Wuhan, people. Huanying Layth Bienvenidos a todos, people, to this esta lección. As always, Bakhair Ragle, Khushamadid, and Swagatam. What's going on? Can I be a mod, please? Damn, where are my moderators actually? Right, so there's supposed to be some here. Let me check. Where's my drink? Let me have a sip of the tea. See, look at this. This damn mic is getting in my way. Me have. That's how you practice the. Right, what's going on, Facebook people? Pepin is naughty drinks. Shukran. Hello, Ustad G. Shukran. Salam Qadi Averroes from Germany. Ahlan wa sahlan. Zulu is saying you have a serious. I don't know what that means exactly. Somebody said Daniel Haqiqat Jew is refusing to talk to you. Well, I know that. Right. It's starting, isn't it? You know what? This is my fault. Let me check a few people here. Fahad in the house. Let me just, if I can. I'm gonna put you as right because I've been too caught up. Gonna add you as a moderator. You're doing it. You've been upgraded in this session, right? Let me see. Who shall I add here? Fahad Alam, that is. Go on. You've had an upgrade. You're doing it. Right. So any person trolling, block them. Right. This is and look at this. Ahmadullah. Go on then. Kya yaad karoge yaar? I'm adding you as a moderator on this chat. They're doing it. Look at that. People, get to work. All right. So, right, can you make dua against hair loss? As in, against hair loss. Right, so what does... Right, let me just see. I'm just seeing if there was anybody else I was to... Samir. Okay, so I suppose I've got some on there now that are doing the... held for review. Let me Android topic. I don't know who that is. Not seen them before. All right, let's get started, people. Let's get started. Somebody, I was gonna add one more. Can't seem to see people that I recognize from regular sessions. So, okay, cool. I tell you what, as we're going along, if some of the people that I recognize, I'll probably add them as mods as well on here. So, let's get started, people. Let's get started. Hey, where's my phone? One of the reasons for the delay today was I'd misplaced my phone. And you all know that is an utmost priority in life. You know, even if the phone is a priority, it's you don't know what kind of evidence there is on a phone. No, I'm joking, people. I'm joking. But I'm just going to share this onto my page. And then, people, let's take your questions. Let's get moving. All right. It's almost done. Un momentico. That's it. We're on our way. So, what is bothering the social media people? Right, alright. Ahmadullah is on it. You're doing it, Ahmad. You're doing it. Zulu Warrior saying Mufti. Alright. Maryam, when should I start with learning the meanings behind the verses of the Quran? Inaya, ahlan wa sahlan, doing it. Mera sawal hai, tum itne manhus kyun ho? Hi, Mona Durrani ji. मोना दुरानी से याद आया. आपके इस सवाल से याद आया. People, let's get started. Let me show you. Make sure you tune. यार शर्मिंदा कर देते हैं आप लोग. I've got to always tell you that make sure you subscribe. ¿Por qué? Damas y caballeros, you ought to know that this is part of the gig, people. Chavalas, get on to it, man. So I'll just brush through the usual, and I've got what have we got? Speaking about people who seem to be upset and they need an excuse. I thought those of you that let's try that once more. Right, so he says, if you want to relieve me, you should have just found another excuse. Even your dad smokes cigarettes. I came across that. I thought, let me I have to share that.
Today, start working on not touching your face, because what?
Right, so put that aside. There's all this super scaremongering going on about the coronavirus, people. What is going on? The whole world, it's like that it's the world is about to end tomorrow. It's like that. So all this going on online, on the news, on every channel, every country. Ya salam. And on that, here we're having some professional advice right here on how to handle it.
Today, start working on not touching your face, because one main way viruses spread is when you touch your own mouth, nose, or eyes.
Is it like this? Meanwhile, people, I came across this. I thought I have to share
I am
this.
going to China to go and deal with coronavirus.
Here was a pastor.
I am going prophetically to destroy coronavirus.
In this,
I am going to
coronavirus.
China. I want to destroy coronavirus.
I want you to destroy it.
Give me children there. Give me children there. Where there's a prophet, people will not die.
Hallelujah.
When there's a prophet, people will not die.
He's going to
I
end the
cannot
people.
be a prophet. I am in this world, and China is
This is
dying.
the pastor. And unfortunately, he went to China and he got rushed to hospital because he caught the coronavirus. And to top it off, people, India has come up with its own solution. This is past the watershed. I'm sorry I had to share that, people. But there you go. This is what is going on.
कौन लोग गोमूत्र और गोबर का यूज किया तो कभी भी कौन सी भी बैक्टीरिया नहीं आता है सर्व रोग निवारणी सर्व बैक्टीरिया
Bacteria.
वो पूरा अच्छी गोबर का स्नान करना है बोलो गौ माता की जय बोलो गौ माता की
Wah, 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 wah.
जय
Wah, 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 wah. Coronavirus. So this is how coronavirus spreads, people. I mean, I don't seem to be understanding what is going on with the people around the world. I'm serious about this. There seems to be this ridiculous kind of scare. Everybody's coming up with their own solutions at the same time. They feel that they figured it out. You've got, I've just shared some of these. There was something I heard by Boris Johnson today saying that, one theory is, how about we don't put any measures in place and just let everybody catch it? That the immune system will just get so strong and it'll just take over. I thought, ما هذا ما هذه الترهات, people. What is going on? What is going on? So it's, and then you've got there's some Islamic people, some Islamic people. I saw a Islamic quote today saying that Ibn Kathir, Allah, the one who's the son of, not Ibn Khalil, he's not the son of a few, he's the son of many. Ibn Kathir. How he got away with that name in his lifetime, I've got no idea. Somebody with that name today, they would be bullied like the son of many. That's what he's basically called. Son of many. They're like, everybody's got one dad. And where's the son of many? That's his name. I'm not saying he was the son of many. People get too worked up. They get too offended. They're like, Ibn Kathir. Relax. He's from the 8th century. He's just a normal scholar. He's not a prophet. On that note, Ibn Kathir, I was reading about, I spoke about the Fadak issue previously. And those of you that haven't watched it, I've got a great overview. And it's interesting, just in case you got offended, it reminded me, Ibn Kathir's comments on Fatima radiallahu anha, very offensive. I was shocked, actually. When speaking about her, he says that her behavior towards, after the death of the Prophet, her behavior is inexcusable, he says. And you think, he says she has no excuse. And he basically says, I don't, who does she, how on earth could she behave the way she did? As in, with the whole fadak and the inheritance issue. And I've covered it in detail. And he says that how could she question Abu Bakr? And he says, وَإِنَّهَا, this is his word, وَإِنَّهَا امْرَأَةٌ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ لَيْسَتْ رَاجِيَةَ الْعِصْمَةِ. He says, who is she? After all, she's just a human. She's not like no prophet or something. And I thought, whoa, what the hell got into Ibn Kathir? 700-800 years later that he's so worked up about this. Anyway, so somebody was quoting Ibn Kathir saying, he gave the perfect solution for the plague, and that was in their time there was a plague, and the way they resolved it is they went around and destroyed all the musical instruments. Allah, Allah, Allah. And in turn, Allah then said, well, since they've destroyed the musical instruments, can't really argue with that one, can we? Nope. I think it's about time we pull back the virus and the plague. What do you say? This is why Muslims have become a laughing stock as well. So it's not like we are so behind these kind of, when you're seeing these suggestions being made about, like, some of the Hindus saying, why don't you get cow dung and just rub it all over yourself, and it fights the bacteria. And you've got the Christian pastor saying, I will go to Wuhan, China, and do this. And you've got Muslims saying basically what we need to do is just stop sinning. Okay, and by sin they mean music, which is not a sin, by the way. I've got a detailed video explaining music is not haram. But that's what they mean, that why don't we just stop listening to music? Naturally, the coronavirus is going to be like, well, guys, since there's no music, I mean, do you want to go and infect a bunch of people where there's no music being played? Not me. The SARS maybe, MERS, swine flu, bird flu maybe, but not us. Ya salam, ya salam. May Allah guide us, grant us intellect. Seriously, that is what is needed. That's what we're missing. We're missing the voice of reason. Meanwhile, this coronavirus thing has scared so many people. And I want to say something here. I'm actually very disappointed in the official services, like the government services, who are not announcing or not really emphasizing the fact that so many people have actually recovered from it completely. This is just like a strong flu. That's all it is. Yes, if people have underlying health issues, strong health issues, and they are especially elderly people, then it could develop into a pneumonia, and it could be fatal for them. But then pneumonia in and of itself is fatal. I mean, so many people with weak immune systems die around the world with a regular flu. So it's, in essence, I mean, you can go on YouTube and watch some of the interviews of some of the people who've been through coronavirus. And there's one about the person who was aboard the ship, and he speaks about, and he seems like he must be in his 60s or something, or late 50s, 60s. And he speaks about it and explains that, yeah, it was a strong flu, that, fever that he had for maybe a couple of days, and that's it. It's not, and they never gave him anything. He actually says they gave him nothing, so he just had to survive off Gatorade or whatever it is, these energy drinks. And so the way they're freaking people out, and the fact that 50% of all the people have fully recovered, and the bulk of the remaining people are on their way to recovery, and it's only had something like a 2% of fatalities, and those fatalities, 95 if not more percent of them were people who were very old, frail, and already had health complications. So I'm not saying that people shouldn't be cautious about this, and we shouldn't be very wary, but what I'm saying is that the government doesn't seem to be sharing it doesn't seem to be emphasizing this information that, look, people have recovered. The feeling out there is that if you catch it, it's a death sentence. This is the feeling. And that is not true categorically. So, and I know Basil is asking, we don't know the long-term effects. True, but I mean, it is, in essence, it's not something that is... It is a virus like many other viruses that the immune system has caught up with. It's not... I'm not saying it's a good thing to get, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying the way they're freaking everybody out. Inaya has asked a question. Why don't we stop being hateful towards each other? I absolutely agree. Um, let me. And this thing in Australia with toilet paper. Have you guys seen this? let me show you guys. Right. So, so right now the number one commodity for the underworld people. And I'm not joking. Excuse the bad language. I'm sorry about this. But look, here you've got a bunch of people that are actually fighting, and this is happening. And if you can see this lady's trolley, it's because she's just stacked up on so much toilet paper, and the other lady just wants one packet, and she's saying that no. He's like, I just want one packet. I just want one. And she's like, no.
I just want one pack. No, not one pack.
No toilet paper. I mean, does this lady, go to the toilet, take a dump on behalf of a nation? Is she like an ummah in one? In Arabic, you can say sometimes somebody was an ummah, as an emphasis that person is a nation in and of himself. I think that's what she is. And on these moments, we need to remind people things like this. Don't fight over the toilet paper, people. Use a lota. As you can see here, somebody has shared this, said, look, don't worry, just ask one of your Asian mates. And you can see, look, this is a national emergency. We don't have time for tea. People, fun and games, people, fun and games. Right, let's take some of your questions. What is bothering mi gente? Right, so truth is hurting you. Just use a lota. Rahim saying, you people are lost following this guy. Allah, Allah, Allah. And yet we have brother Rahim, who's on my live, asking other people, why are they on my live? This is the magnificence of this day and age. Why not a bidet? I absolutely agree. A bidet, I feel, for those of you, they call it sometimes shattaf as well. It's a toilet shower. So basically like the shower head, but next to the toilet. That's what I actually have. Oh, rather. A bidet. Oh. Absolutely. That's what I agree with. And I think Muslim countries should actually be proud of this, that they take this kind of hygiene very seriously, and they should have, and they do, to be fair. In most Muslim countries, you do find the bidets, the shattaf, etc. Somebody's saying about ajwa dates. Okay, handsome hound, calm yourself. Okay, so what is the topic? Right, I think we need to take a look at a few topics, people. Get moving. First of all, I did wanna, so I don't forget, I did write down a few topics. Right, shall we discuss this Aurat March thing? Right, what is going on? Let me give you a backdrop, people. Those of you that don't know, it was yesterday, International Women's Day. So, right, so with reference to that, certain countries have a kind of demonstration, right? Like a march. They have an organized, I don't know if demonstration is the right word in the context, but it's a protest or a raising awareness kind of protest and march that they have. And amongst these countries is Pakistan. So it has, Aurat means woman in Urdu, so it has Aurat March. And what was going on is this year's Aurat March became incredibly controversial because of some of the placards that were being carried by these women. Some of these women, sorry. Now, I'm going to go into this. So what happened is this became incredibly polarized based on two figureheads. Now, before just last week, I had no idea who either of these people were. I don't actually follow Pakistani politics too closely. I don't watch too many. I don't really watch Pakistani dramas or things like this. But I've come across some of them. Like, I'm aware of some of these dramas, and one of these guys, his name is Khalilur Rahman Qamar, and he is an incredibly popular. In fact, I think the leading script writer for dramas in Pakistan today. And the drama scene is huge in Pakistan. It surpasses their film industry. That's just to give you an idea. So now this guy is on this platform, that Khalilur Rahman, and on the other end, so you've got these two people came to represent this controversy, and I'll speak about it. You've got somebody who, once again, I don't really know of. She's an activist. Her name is Marvi Sarmad. Okay, I don't know what that. To be honest, I've never heard of that name before, Marvi. I didn't realize that's actually a name, a female name. But anyway, so Marvi Sarmad. Now, these people have had it. They've gone loggerheads at each other on a TV show, and I'll show a clip of that in a moment, where it gets out of hand and they end up insulting each other and swearing, and this thing just gets huge, and ever since everybody's talking about it. But the real issue at hand is this march. How do we feel about this march? Now, I personally I do support the march. Like, I think women attending a march or creating awareness of these things is fine. It's good. There's nothing wrong in things like that. It shouldn't be kind of looked down on or anything like this. However, I do have an issue with some of the placards that were used, not because of their liberal values, but I feel that I think that this protest has a very noble cause, and it's been hijacked by a few women who are just using the opportunity to provoke people. And I think fair enough, it's fine to provoke people. I provoke people all the time. But I think your provocation should be, especially on an opportunity like that, it should be purposive. It should seek a purpose. So, and I'll give you an example that I heard that a politician in Pakistan said after this march, that he said that from, I don't know, the next election or something, candidacy for their party, whichever it is, that they won't accept MPs or whatever unless those people have, as part of their will, they include their sisters. Now, I think that's what he said. That's what I've heard. Now, that goes to show me that there must be so many people who on purpose in Pakistan block out their sisters from inheritance, which is utterly diabolical. I think these kind of things need to be condemned. People like that need to be shamed. You see, this is what the march should be used for. Things like this, like name and shame. If there's famous people who are they are preventing female folk, kin, to inherit from them, and this information is known, let's say it is somehow, about certain people, this should be an opportunity to create an awareness about stuff like that. Okay, it should be like, and if it means naming and shaming these tycoons, business tycoons, or these, whoever they are, these pundits of politics, then so be it. And that's what I believe in. I feel this should be there. So there were several very sensible placards, things like stop forced marriages, that people that education is it's a right of every person, that having a daughter is a blessing and a strength. And I think these things are awesome, and I fully 100% support all of that. There were placards like in this light, about things like stop forced marriages, stop child marriages, on things like Inaya has mentioned here on acid attacks. Exactly. Honor killings, there were things about that there's no honor in honor killings. And I think that is amazing to stand up and to put that in the face of the nation. So I support this wherever it is in the world. All these kind of things, sexual harassment, salary kind of, there shouldn't be disparity in pay. But I think, especially, to be fair, I think personally, this is my personal opinion, and people may disagree, that in a country like Pakistan, they need to prioritize the Class A abuse. Because I think the other things are important as well, like being mentioned, like salary disparity and so on. But I think in a country like Pakistan, where you've got honor killings and you've got forced marriages, that takes precedence, or child marriages, or you've got things like acid attacks, or you've got things like that is an utmost or you've got deprivation from inheritance because it's a girl. These things take precedence, in my opinion, over just things like job roles and career roles, and that's important too, but I think these are very important. Now, there was a particular placard called, it stated, Mera Jism, Meri Marzi. Right, so it's my body, it's my choice. Now, I disagree with this placard. Why? Why I disagree with it? It's not, to me, it's not personally, I'm not against the value. I agree, like, personally, as a, if it's a person's body, it's their choice. I do agree with that in principle, like that. But I feel that a placard like that would now completely compromise and jeopardize this entire march. Because there's so much good going on here. And now what you're doing is you're provoking people with ambiguity, because people in Pakistan are not sure what that placard means. You see, if I said to you, my body, my choice, like in America, this my body, my choice means abortion usually. It's usually about abortion. In some parts of the world, my body, my choice is about having the right to work as a sex worker. Now, because it's my body, it's my choice. In some parts of the world, it's about clothing. In some parts of the world, it's about maybe having the right to change genders and do things. And now, there's a lot of ambiguity on what is meant here. And a country like Pakistan just isn't really. It's so deep. It's neck high in ridiculous kind of issues. When you're going to put this out there in front of the people and shout it in their face, people are going to think, well, what exactly do you mean by that? Do you mean this? Do you mean this? Do you mean that? So, for example, so some of the people genuinely said, so I watched some of these interviews, and this was women saying it, like, oh, do you mean like you should go out, like I have the right to completely walk naked in the street because it's my body, it's my choice. So I feel that these kind of placards were really just hijacking. So you've got some people who are incredibly angry, and they're using this opportunity to provoke people, but by doing so, they're hijacking the whole event. And I feel that's very selfish, and that's my personal opinion. Now, coming to this thing between these two, right, so I'm going to find this here. This was the interview. Right now, this guy wearing the kind of mustard color top, who's speaking right now, is Khalilur Rahman, and he starts off very respectful. And this lady on the right hand side, where you've got the picture, just a still picture of her, that is Marvi Sarmad. So she starts speaking. So they start arguing. She goes, Mera jism, meri marzi. And he says, what is there in your body anyway?
Don't talk in between the lines.
Don't talk in between the lines, God damn it.
What the
hell?
मारवी साहिबा अपनी बारी पे मैं आपके पास वापस
Don't talk bloody nonsense, you know?
और shut up.
You bloody shut up.
Please देखें ये.
So there he's called her. You see,
हम देखें बहुत.
There he said the B word. Yeah, it was there. He said that.
मारवी साहिबा आप.
तेरी ऐसी की तैसी.
मारवी साहिबा आप.
तेरी ऐसी की तैसी.
मैंने आपसे रिक्वेस्ट की बकवास मत कीजिएगा बीच में
चले खलील साहब
तेरा जिस्म है क्या थूकता नहीं कोई मर्द उसके ऊपर शक्ल देख अपनी जाके
खलील
She
साहब
goes,
देखें,
my
आप
body,
बात
my choice. And he's like, what is there about your body? That's a proper cuss. Right, so this has really taken over the entire. I mean, this has been viral. Everybody's been discussing this. That what do we think about it? You know, was he out of order? I personally think that, first of all, to be fair, he did begin very politely. I mean, I didn't have the beginning of the interview here, but he does begin very respectfully saying, look, I'd like to present salam to everybody here, and I request that I've been very silent whilst they've been speaking, allow me to speak. And so what's happened is he gets interrupted in between because she starts kind of like speaking, saying, kind of like muttering under her voice the same slogan, and then it just ticks him off. And then he just goes off on one and calls her a bitch and tells her to shut up and things like this. Now, I feel that kind of stuff, you know, calling her let's say, a bitch or doing things like this, I think that is out of order. On national TV, you can't really, even though, okay, people have said, and to be, I suppose, fair, they've said that she does, so this is her kind of tweet, that she uses this kind of language all the time. People have said, so, you know, why is she making such a big deal? This has been some of the counter criticism. But I do feel that, look, at the end of the day, you know, a person should, you know, that's wrong, I suppose. And if you did it out of anger or whatever, then you can just acknowledge that, look, I was wrong in doing that, but you know, I was triggered. Overall, his message, I think that you see, there's a huge part of his message that I do agree with. It's the same thing that I just said earlier, that he said that, look, I don't, this is what I heard from his interviews. I've watched a few of his interviews now. He said that, look, a lot of these women who are marching, they are from an elitist upper middle class, and they don't really have any of these problems. And you know, there's no victims amongst them. So this has been part of his claim. But I personally have no problem with the march. I think that that's a good thing, and if they want to do it, there's no objection to that. He does say that, look, I feel that this is too vague. He calls this "Mera Jism, Meri Marzi" slogan to be absolutely obscene. I disagree that it's obscene. I don't think it's obscene at all, but I do agree it's ambiguous. And therefore, it could be something that's just there to provoke people wrongfully. And I kind of agree with that sentiment. I also agree that some of these slogans are just meaningless, like "find your own socks." So there was a slogan that they're saying that basically husbands say to their wives, can you find me my pair of socks? And they're saying that find your own socks. Apne moze khud dhundo. Which I found that hilarious. What the hell? And there were some which, I'll be honest with you, I found I just found them dumb. Like saying things like, "Main insan hu, I'm a human, tumhari izzat nahi, I'm not your honor." I don't know why. Like, you see, I think that's just, there's no point picking a fight about that. I think it's an admirable thing that somebody considers you their honor. Although I understand if they mean by honor killings, but in that placard it just said, I'm a human, I'm not your honor. So, and I think, look, why not just focus on the real things and just say them straight, get to the point, forced marriages, this, domestic violence, having disparity in roles, just be straight to the point, like, as opposed to, and this is what happened. And then this whole march some people turned up and they tried to throw pelt stones or something at these people. And I think that is utterly unacceptable, right? So to kind of go and stone these women, even if you disagree with them, that's bang out of order in my thinking. But that's what I did feel, that this lady, Marvi, whoever she is, she's very provocative, and I feel that she's counterproductive to this cause. That she just seems to be somebody who's just got an axe to grind. So that's my thoughts on it. Khalilur Rahman, I did feel that I agreed with a lot of his things, but I disagreed with. He does seem to. I can see why they think they can see this chauvinism in him. I can see that he seems very intelligent, incredibly well spoken, when he is speaking well. That is. But I feel that I watched a few of his interviews to speak on this, and in a couple of them, he seems to say every time, even to the anchors, he'll say like, "Don't interrupt me when I'm speaking." And I just thought, here, okay, she provoked him, but even in some of the other interviews, they just ask, like, the anchor is asking him something, and he says, "Don't interrupt me when I'm speaking." And I thought, who the hell what kind of arrogance is that? Like, I think that, and he said, "Nobody in my life has ever said shut up to me." And I think, come on, behave. This is the chauvinism that is exactly what they're talking about. So I was kind of very disappointed to see that, really. And so, yeah, so these kind of things are, and in an interview, he does say, somebody asks him that there's a placard which said "divorced and happy." Right, so now, and he says that, if a woman wants to be divorced, then get lost and get divorced. And then he makes a quote, like he makes a statement, where he says a man would never divorce a woman unless he caught her red-handed having an affair. And I thought, what? What? Wait a minute. Why is that the only reason men would have a divorce? That's just so, and I think that this, you see, so I can see why a lot of the women are having an issue with him, because this kind of thinking is wrong as well. I mean, so anyway, I thought I'd speak about it because it has become a hot topic, and they're bringing Islam into it time and time again. And I think that's, I'm never too happy when people start bringing religion into things, because it's always a power move. But cool, let's get on with another question now. So I hope that gave some insight. Espero que estás bien, Sam. Muy bien, hermano. Orale, what's going on? Yahdi man yasha wa yadillu man yasha. I'm not sure. You're saying Allah guides whom He wills and He misleads whom He wills. You see, this... right, so this... Right, so this verse is not really saying that Allah misguides people, that Allah is there trying to misguide people, because that would be ridiculous. What the verse is trying to say, some people sometimes ask that, look, if Allah wanted, He could have guided us all. Like, we could all believe in God. So Allah says that Allah yahdi man yasha wa yudillu man yasha. That Allah here, He guides whom He wills and He misguides whom He wills. And what this means is He allows people to follow whatever guidance they wish. So whether it be to God or whether it be away from God, it is their choice. Allah will allow it. Don't think that Allah won't allow it. He will. Allah says, وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ. If Allah wanted, He would have made, that all of mankind would have believed. But He's given you free will. So that's what somebody said. All the haters are on here today. Are they? Are the haters on here? All right. Well, where's the admin gone? I don't know if the admin on it or are they not on it. Right. So if they're not on it, I'll have to add another mod. Somebody said, have you heard of Javed Ghamidi? No, right. So you're asking about somebody else. Right. I'm trying to see some questions. Somebody's a hater. Mufti Saab. Frowdy Frubbery, you're doing it. Shall I put you as a mod? Alright. Go on then, people. If anybody's hating, block them. But only people who are hating, not genuine questions, even if the questions, even if the questions appear provocative, but if they're not like if they're not swearing, then or they're not just trolling, then don't block them. Okay. So because I do have a very outright I do have an outright policy that you can ask me anything about Islam. And there's many people on my show who are not Muslim. And there's many people who are ex-Muslim. There's many people who are agnostic that watch my show and they ask me questions. And I don't expect you to behave like Muslims towards Islamic sentiments and Islamic symbols. So I don't expect you to, you can ask questions. Now somebody objected to me. They said, I was asked a question, and actually I want to mention something here. I want to say a few words, and people, this is an important message. I'd like you to actually pay attention, and this, inshallah, this message, especially when it's set out as a separate clip, I would like you to share this far and wide to people, okay? I'd like to say something, being serious in this topic. You see, I had a very interesting encounter just the other day. I bumped into someone, and he had a chat with me, and he was deeply offended, or he felt he was offended by what I'd said. Now, he was also, I could tell that he felt hurt. He felt I think he said his name was Yasin, but from Birmingham. And just met him locally, just where we just chill out, and he came and we had this chat. Now, he'd said, you see, now this is what I want to address, part of the propaganda against me that people put out. Now, that's what I want to address. I want to say that, look, by all means, disagree with me. Hate what I say. I don't mind even if you hate it. I don't mind if you refute it. I don't mind if you mock it, my opinions. Like, let's say I say, oh, I think this is how this happened, or this is my view on this, or I'm going to speak a little later on Harut and Marut, these two alleged angels that were teaching people magic, and what is this story about. Now, you might disagree with my view on this. You might and you might take the mick out of it, or anything. I don't mind. Okay. I'm entitled to an opinion. You're entitled to an opinion. You're entitled to an opinion about me as well. No objection to that. But don't, you see, this is especially, what I'm saying, this part, it goes out to people like preachers, people like Asrar Rashid, and other people who actually propagate hatred against me. Now, what they do is, you see, if they just present my masail as it is, as what I'm saying, I have no problem with that. But they will lie and then present that. So they teach things like, and this is not just restricted to Asrar, there's other people as well. They say that I teach and advocate insulting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I won't lie, I was hurt to hear this. Because I thought, wait a minute. If you want to spread something about me, spread my actual opinion and refute it. By all means, say that, what on earth is this? This is nonsense. This is nonsense. But spreading lies and then refuting them, to me, is such a cheap shot. It is unacceptable. So like Asrar Rashid, I was reading a question from here by somebody who wasn't even a Muslim. They asked a question that, do Muslims believe that the prophets are preserved in their graves, or do their bodies rot away and the insects eat them and things like this? This was the question. And I'm actually reading it. I'm going in the video, I'm saying, do they rot or read away? And then I say, oh, okay, that's an interesting question, a good question. Let's answer it. Now, he was saying to people that I'm teaching, now this is how I'm teaching it, that the bodies of the prophets rot away and insects eat them and things like this. And look, I'm saying it. And he's quoting that part And then they're objecting. I said, but that's the question. I'm reading the question. And they said, well, but you still read it. And this is how they're promoting this. And so this brother I met, he came and he was under the impression that, because this is what he's been told as well, so he thought that, oh, this is what I'm teaching people, that we should all believe that the prophets rot. And I said, well, ayathu billah. That is so disappointing to hear. The issue on this was simply, this was the issue, that we as Muslims, and I said in that clip in the beginning, I've got a detailed clip, please watch it. It's about 40 minutes long. I mention in the clip that, look, there are two opinions. There's a devotional approach, which is just all about utmost reverence and respect. And then there's a more factual approach. Now, the factual approach, the devotional approach, is out of love. We will not ascribe anything that is somehow seen negative. And from the factual approach, what we're saying is that the prophets were human beings fundamentally, that they did have, for example, prophets felt emotions, prophets felt sadness, they felt happiness, they felt hunger, they felt thirst, they used to eat food like people, they aged. I mean, so the Prophet ﷺ, when he was 60 years old, he was 60 years old. He wasn't still a 20 years old person who's now 60 years old. And when he was 20, he wasn't 2 who's 20. He was his age. So his skin aged. He aged as a person, just as the Prophet Noah aged. So everybody accepts this up until there, that they needed oxygen, they needed food, they needed these things. The question was, when they pass away, do they remain like normal humans, or do they become superhumans now? That they no longer will age, they no longer will require oxygen, no longer require nourishments. They did before, whilst they were alive. Now they won't. And I said that the factual group, the people who are looking at this factually, are saying, well, they're still, physically they are human beings. And I did say, however, the majority of Muslims probably approach this more from a devotional perspective. And they say, no, that, even the bodies are preserved after they pass away. So, and please, if you've got any questions on this, watch my clip. I actually begin by saying this is a very sensitive subject. Now, to tell people that I'm teaching Muslims to disrespect the Prophet is such a buhtan. This is such a lie. And this is exactly the sectarianism that I condemn. This is the reason that people are so disenchanted with this theme. That the youth are fed up with the mullahs, that they can't put up with them. That, you see, all you're doing is, rather than refuting an opinion, you're saying that, oh, I know, I've got an opportunity to say this is a gustakhi and this guy's a kafir. That is your concern. Your concern is not even the issue. It's an opportunity to say, I know, let's pretend this is what he's saying and let's use that to call him a kafir. And evoke the sentiments of people to say he teaches disrespecting the Prophet. Wallahi, I ask people, is it, and I said this to Sheikh Asrar, I say this to Sheikh Asrar, I say this to all my haters. Yeah. When it came to the age of the wife of the Prophet, who stood up? Now Sheikh Asrar, because he's feeling embarrassed, is leaning this way. For years I've stood up and said that the Prophet did not marry a child. And that is disrespectful. When these people taught that the Prophet had magic done onto him, and he became clumsy, and he became sexually impotent, I said that that is disrespectful and condemned that teaching. When they said that the Prophet Moses ran naked, as it says in Bukhari, and people were looking at his testicles to see whether they were swollen or not, I said that that is nonsense. That how dare you insult our prophets? When they said that the Prophet took Safiya after the battle of Khaybar and then just took her as his wife without any full iddah, even though her husband was just murdered, and then had sex with her, and which would just be rape, And these people are like okay with that. I replied to that saying that that is utter nonsense, that the iddah states that she must wait this long. And I showed all the narrations. I have a clip. When these riwayat came about Zainab radiallahu anha, that this is how the Prophet lusted after her and did this and did this, I made a video with research to show that this is nonsense. This is an attack on the honor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what I'm asking, when the hadith in Bukhari, when they say that, oh, the Prophet tried to touch this woman in Bukhari and he said, give yourself to me, I said that is nonsense. You cannot prove this hadith. In fact, I don't even know why you pick Bukhari above the Quran. You can't even really prove Bukhari. I took this stance. None of these people did. And it hurts me just as a person. I mean, look, you can do what you want, but to say that, oh, I'm teaching people, this is my mission, to teach people to dishonor the prophets, then why am I going around showing, defending the honor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the other prophets on all of these things? Where all these mulvis and mullahs just sit uselessly, just tell people to accept them. They say, oh, don't worry, he married a child. Back then they did things like this. What do you mean they did things like this? So these are the kind of misunderstandings that people are promoting. I mean, they're propagating this about me. And that, that what I'm teaching is kufr. I'm teaching people I'm a closet atheist and I just want people to become atheists. If I wanted to be an atheist, you think I would give a damn about what any of you would have to say about me? Wallahi, if I wanted to be an atheist, I would announce it. I wouldn't give a damn. Look at me. I mean, I sit here teaching. I sit in a t-shirt. I have a goatee. I've done this. I have an earring, for God's sake. Does it look like I care about what people's opinions are? I've been teaching, a lot of what I've taught has been counterculture. I've been teaching for a few years now. Does it look like I get offended by, people's simple opinions on me? If I was an atheist, I'm so scared to announce it. The truth is that I believe in Allah. I believe in His Messenger. Yes, your twisted interpretations of Islam, your folkloric and maybe kind of medievalist kind of veneers that you give Islam, I don't accept. I don't feel that it's compatible with this day and age, and I don't accept it. And that I'm outright about. I'm nothing hidden about that. And I don't accept the way that you present Islam as barbaric and very anti-rights and anti-humanism and anti all of these things and just tell people to accept it. And sectarianism. So these are the things. So I brought this up because it was a very interesting conversation I had with this brother. And it was interesting that by the end of the conversation, the amount of for me, it was very interesting to see that when this person was speaking to me, the amount of respect that he then had, even though I could tell when he first met me that, he had all this kind of, this is the stuff I'm teaching and I'm sure like all this kind of aggression and upset kind of emotions bottled up within. And then by the end of it, he was so respectful and saying that I not only understand, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I mean, this actually makes a lot of sense. So I wanted to share, and I said, and this is something, coming to this atheism, I said, wallah, and I've said this before, that look, if you think, yes, I may be different, but if you think what I'm preaching is atheism, then show me one Muslim who's become an atheist because of me. Because of me. And I can show you so many mullahs who, because of them, people have become atheists. But I can show you many people who've doubted Islam, who've left Islam, and have come back because of what they've heard me say about Islam. So this message, I wanted to make this very clear, that yes, I do have a joke and a laugh. Yes, I do. And that is my temperament, that is my personality, and I will continue to do that. I do have opinions that are counterculture, and I will continue to do that. And I will teach the way I teach. But I wanted this message to be very clear, that if you are going to teach about me and teach hate about me, then teach hate about things truthfully. At least be truthful. Say that, look, he says this and this is stupid. But don't teach people that what this guy is doing is he's teaching people secretly that you should all hate the Prophet and you should all do things like this. And when a huge part of my mission has simply been to defend the honor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I had to say this, people, because it was really kind of, I had to get it off my heart, and I wanted you all to hear that and to pass this message on to people when they say these things, that let this part, and I will make this a separate clip, go far and wide, inshallah. Cool. With that, let's take another clip, another question of what's going on, people. What's going on? Sorry, there was a question here. Zeba, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. Shukran for that. We've got somebody here once again asking about my eyebrows. I don't know. There's nothing special. I mean, they're like, where does he get them trimmed? Or where does he? Allah. Right, so people, let's go on. What is going on, people? Let's take a few questions. Facebook, what is going on? What are some questions? Salam Mufti. Waqas is asking, if one pays mortgage with money by cheat, would the kids be sinful? I.e., would sitting in the room of that house be haram? No, not at all. It doesn't work like that. So let's say, for example, a person has stolen. Now, or he's done something fraudulent, or he's earned some haram money, or he's a drug dealer and he's earning haram money. What that does, I personally, obviously that is haram. If he's paying, let's say, the mortgage, or he's buying shopping for his kids, and his kids are eating the shopping, does it mean they are eating haram? They're not eating haram. But, you see, he is, or it could be a she as well, although generally these things, more often than not, are he. That he is failing his children and failing those people from a moral, a human, and an Islamic perspective. So that's what he is doing, and that is that sin, or this crime that he's doing, is back on him, and it is on his shoulders. But the food they're eating, so he buys them an apple, they eat an apple. He buys them a burger, they eat a burger. That burger doesn't become haram all of a sudden. But these kind of things, the baraka, a person's kind of the sense of well-being of it from a faith perspective, he is deprived of that. Obviously, the children or the other people are innocent in this. Okay, so, yep. Somebody said they probably think Desis just have one brow. Monobrow. All right. We're going to be speaking about that a little later on in the Masala segment, people. What we've got, let me show you. We're going to speak a little later on this whole, if I can find it here, this there's been a condemnation of Sheikh Yaqoubi by the board, the Islamic board of the defenders of the faith, and it was really difficult tracking these people down. All right, so it was incredibly difficult, I'm telling you. The board people, the defenders, the Islamic board for protection of Islamic beliefs, but we found them, people. And I'm gonna come back to that a little later on in the Masala segment, and we're going to see what is this thing with the whole Sheikh Yaqoubi that they're trying to condemn. But right now, the questions must go on. So, what is going on? What is tree of Zaqqum in Quran that burns? Zeba, that's a good question. Shajaratul Zaqqum. You see, the thing is that this is just something that has been put there for people to kind of to play on their imagination in evoking a sense of awareness and fear, an awareness of their rights, responsibilities, and a fear of doing wrong in this world and then the consequences in the afterlife. And we know that because Allah, when describing it, says that طلعها, that this tree looks كأنها رؤوس الشياطين, as though it is the heads of demons. But nobody's really seen a demon. So the Mufassirin, the people of tafsir, say exactly. So that's because you're meant to imagine this. It's meant to kind of trigger your imagination. But I have got a detailed video on this, on these kind of things, explaining that the afterlife, the imagery in the Quran about the afterlife, so it being an oasis, a garden, there being rivers of milk, or there being fire and chains and people tied in chains. This imagery, is it real or is it symbolic? And I've said that there are both opinions, and I don't personally think that this is real imagery. I think that this is symbolic imagery in the Quran. It's there to kind of just evoke the kind of sentiments of the people in which the Quran was revealed. So because it was revealed in Arabia, speaking to them of a garden and an oasis was enticing. Whereas to other people, if in the 21st century, I don't know, Switzerland, or it may not have the same effect because they see that all the time. So to them, speaking of something else may have that enticing element to it. So this is why the hadith said that Jannah, the afterlife, is something that not only no eye has seen, no ear has heard, but no heart or no cognitive faculty, وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى بَالِ بَشَرٍ قَطْ, that nobody has even conceived its idea. You understand? So that is fascinating. So yeah, so that's that, people. Right, what is going on? What is going on, people? Let's take some questions. Do you have a mole at the end of your eyebrows? Wow, people are really paying attention, ain't they? I do actually, right here. That's, or a tattoo, somebody said. I should turn it into a tattoo, but what is going on? What is the definition? That changed. Some Sunnis and Shias about the issue of Fadak and Sayyidah Fatima. I believe you were present. Could you tell us how that went? What was your take? Mukhtar, I've actually done that already. I did it, what was it, 2 weeks ago or a week ago? I can't remember, but it's on YouTube. If you go to YouTube after this and you can type my name, type Fadak. I've got 2 clips on Fadak. One is a brief one, but one is an overview. It's called a detailed overview. So if you watch that, I go through the whole thing and give my opinion on the event. I give my opinion on the gathering that I went to, the people that I met at Al Mahdi Institute, and they were great people, by the way. So, but I speak about Fadak as well. Cool. And I know people have asked me on other things, and I do want to speak on those topics as well, but I want to Inaya, I'm just coming to your question. Right, that you see, there are other questions. People have asked me this difficult topics within Shia, between Shia and Sunnis, and other things as well. Even within Sunnis, there's a lot of difficult topics. Obviously, Ghadir Khum. There's the right now. I'm actually reading up on the Ridda wars, the apostasy wars that took place during the lifetime of Abu Bakr radiallahu an. And I'm trying to do a bit of research on it, and I'm trying to gather the whole perspective, and then I would like to speak on it. You see, I want to, before I speak on these things, I want to have at least to some capacity read a diverse amount on it. So even on Fadak, I didn't really speak until I went through a detailed amount personally. I'm not saying I exhausted the topic, but I went through at least what I felt that content that, I've covered a diverse perspective here. I've been through a few different, some books and some other articles and different journals and different kind of analyses, and I've analyzed them, and I've got an understanding of the historicity, and now I can speak. So I do want to do that once I do that with all those other topics as well. So I don't want to just, because right now I would have an opinion, but I might change my opinion. Because if I read something, I think, wow, well, I never knew that before. And then people are going to say, yaar, ye kabhi yahan, kabhi wahan. He's sometimes here, sometimes there. He keeps... right. Right. Is it more likely that someone is Islamically responsible when the prefrontal cortex is fully developed, rather? Abu Unaysa, I want to come back to this question because I think it's a very good question. It's about when the neocortex has entirely matured. Inaya had asked a question as well. I will get to that about sexual harassment, and is it learnt behavior or is it something that people kind of is it innate? Is it nature versus nurture? I think that's interesting as well. A quick question Siraj is asking was Ziad ibn Abihe, was he really the brother of Muawiya? That's an interesting one, isn't it? I like Muawiya radiallahu an. I think, to me, Muawiya is like somebody who, in a way, when it comes to leading a state or leading as a leader, he's the kind of leader that you need as an astute person for leadership. I don't mean by this as in, I'm separating religiosity. I'm not trying to say he's somebody who is going to teach you that you should all be praying and you should be doing things like this, because he probably wouldn't. That wasn't probably his character. So it's not so much about virtue. I'm not approaching it from a virtue perspective, but more from a trying to think of, I'm at a loss for better words here, but like a like somebody who could actually deliver and deal with people, somebody who knows how to handle people, because handling people is really difficult, I think, because you've got to be you've got to have strategies. You've got to be really kind of like intelligent like that, like sharp. And I see that in Muawiya radiallahu an. So, but anyway, so this thing about Ziad ibn Abihe. Now, I'm not sure whether he was Abu Sufyan's son. I do feel that was the rumor, because Abu Sufyan did claim that he had a son in this place. And in Arabian culture at that time, the lineage, the whole thing was patrilineal. It was through the father. And to not know who your father was is a huge loss. Just think of the insecurity. And I wouldn't be surprised personally if that insecurity is what developed this entire rage almost within Ziad ibn Abihe, who then sublimates, as Freud would say, to sublimate, to use that kind of energy in war. Because Ziad ibn Abihe becomes one of the most excelling war generals in his time. Like, he's just so good at war. And obviously he is on the side of Ali radiallahu anhu during the whole, when there's the civil war in Islam against Muawiya. But then Muawiya comes to realize that he's actually doing so well, and invites him. And no, they capture him, actually. They capture Ziad. And I suppose he could have been punished or whatever, but not that I'm saying he deserved to be punished. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he could have, as a, now that you've captured a member of the other army, you could obviously torture or kill or do whatever. But Muawiya says to him, he has him brought, and he says, what were you saying the other day to the other person? He says, I heard. He says, I know that uh, Abu Sufyan said he was his son. And he says, Are you sure about that? And this is in the it's almost done dramatically, but he says in front of Ziyad, and the other person says, yeah, I've. So Muawiya presents to him, well, in that case, that would make you my brother, and that would make you Ibn Abi Sufyan. Now, saying that to a person who's longed for a lineage his entire life, and he says, it's up to you. Shall we let you go back, or do you want to be here with your family? And like that, he was won. And you see that Ziyad was like, I'm all yours. And he remained very loyal to Muawiya after that. But it's just interesting. So I mean, I don't know whether he really was Ibn Abi Sufyan, but people said that. So, Zeba says, how would we learn to know our divine calling? That's an interesting one. I don't know if we need to really be waiting on a divine calling, because you see, that's something that you might just be forever wait. Like, what does that mean? What does the divine call mean? I would say that you pursue what you can. Like the hadith says, tie the camel, i'qilha fatawakkal. Tie the camel, but then have tawakkul on Allah. That's what I would say. Right, damn, what were the questions? I want to answer some questions. Right, so there was a question on the neocortex and the development of it. Right, I want to tie this question in to... I wanted to speak or clarify, and I'll put this out as a separate clip as well. I want to give a verdict of clarity on cannabis. Okay, marijuana, people. Now, a lot of people have quoted me on marijuana, and many people have misquoted me as well. So I want to be very clear on marijuana. Okay. Now, I have stated very clearly, I've been asked about marijuana. Do I believe marijuana is haram in Islam? Now, I have said that, now I want you to hear this clearly. I have said that I don't believe marijuana per se is haram in Islam. And I've got like a video explaining that I don't feel that it's haram, that it lacks legislation making it haram and it's not an intoxicant. However, there are certain dynamics of, let's say, weed, which are definitely haram. Now, I want to explain that because people have not been, and people, I suppose, hear what they want to hear. And people who want to smoke weed are going to smoke it anyway. They're not going to really care about what I have to say. I do not smoke. I do not smoke cigarettes. I do not smoke weed. I don't smoke at all. So I have no vested interest in this. Let me make something clear. I'm speaking about marijuana in its purity. I suppose what would be regulated marijuana, or it would be like medical marijuana. I don't feel those things would be haram, because there is no clear legislation making it haram, and it's not an intoxicant. It may have certain psychedelic effects at a very low level, but psychedelics are not necessarily haram. I don't feel that there's anything making psychedelics haram. And it's not something that, now there is a lethargy, like people do become slightly lethargic at times and things like this, but that's, it's not an argument to say something is haram. Okay, but I want to add these caveats. There are several types of, when it comes to weed, that is haram. And I want to make this very clear. So, first of all, any young person taking weed, I believe is categorically haram. And I want to explain why. You see, because first of all, and I'm going to come to the rest grown-ups about dealing with weed. And by weed, I mean that which is on the street. Okay. Firstly, most of what is found on the street is not pure marijuana. It will be laced with products. It will be arranged so it produces a greater addiction. So the people have a greater, higher level of puntership. So you keep coming back. They want you to keep buying more and more and more. So they're going to lace it with certain things. They will lace it sometimes, whether it's going to be crack, other things. They'll add chemicals to it, intensify it. So it's not actually just marijuana. Okay. So most of what you're finding is not, like pure marijuana, the way it would be like medical grade or regulated cannabis. The other thing is that, so that's one issue. The other thing is I've said that the gang culture, the drug dealing culture is haram. I've made that very clear from every single video I've said. That the drug dealing culture, dealing drugs, doing these things is haram. And I have said that I do feel that that countries like the UK ought to legalize cannabis because then it would be regulated. Now, I want to come back to this thing about young people. So let's say we go with the age of 18 because it's a statutory age. I would argue that anybody under that age smoking cannabis, smoking weed, smoking even medical marijuana, I would feel would be haram based on the dangers that it has to the plasticity of the developing brain. So you see, the brain it develops since infancy. Our brain is developing, and there's a huge burst during childhood, and hence things like languages can be picked up much easier. There's an exponential kind of burst of neuroplasticity in the brain. Now, the neocortex, the prefrontal brain, which makes us the modern humans that we are, does not actually fully mature till about the age 25. But around the age 18, it's quite mature, but it hasn't still completely matured. But it's good enough by about 18, for example, but it's still on its way to get more and more mature. Now, if a person is taking psychedelics or anything that is impacting the neurochemistry of his brain before it develops, it's like saying, imagine you are taking something that is interfering with bone growth as a child. So you're like 12 years old and you're taking something that may be inhibiting the receptors dealing with, and the hormones and different things dealing with bone growth in and of itself, or with the immune system. Let's say you're taking something that could be problematic for the immune system. Hence, several medications are prohibited for children. It would be illegal to give certain medications to children because it would be way too toxic at that age. And this illegal, in that sense, because of the harm, is what I would state as haram. So the problem with young people smoking, especially the weed of the street, and even if it was pure marijuana, let's say it was regulated, let's say you got it from a regulated cafe in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, or wherever it is, and it's regulated, but the brain hasn't developed yet. So you're 13 years old, you're 14 years old, and you start smoking this. You see, this is going to impact your serotonin levels. It's going to impact the things like the neurotransmitters in your brain. It's going to start clogging up certain receptors that are way too vulnerable at that age. And this is why you get a lot of youngsters today who are suffering from major depression. Major depression. I mean, depression that, like, everybody gets depressed, but this generation now, this younger generation, they're like mega depressed. So many of them, and they seem to have it all, but yet they're so depressed. The other day, it's such a tragedy. A friend of mine, student Momo, those of you that sometimes see him on my Facebook and things like this, a good friend of his took his own life. A young person, I mean, I think he was 25 or something, from, I think, here, Birmingham, or maybe London, but, like, took his own life, and so many people are doing this. Why? Because their brain can't cope with it. They can't cope with life. Because they've been meddling. I mean, so many of these young people have been when you're when your brain was trying to develop its strength systems, its pathways, its neural networks, you kept interrupting it by clogging it with all this kind of THC and all these other drug influences on the brain, and you're way too young. It's like getting a 12-year-old and getting him to push some real weight in the gym. It's definitely going to mess up his joints and brain and bones. So in the same way, I'm saying this very clearly, right? Any young person, it is categorically haram. Do not, for the love of God, do not touch drugs. Honestly, not psychedelics. You will regret it. Mark my words. Because now, coming to adults, you see, if your body has matured, the brain has matured, and you, let's say, you're definitely, by the age 25, it does mature, definitely. If a person in his late 20s, in his 30s, in his 40s, in his 50s, they decide to smoke some cannabis, some marijuana, and it is that, I don't personally feel that that is haram, but I don't advocate it, and I still think it's a bad thing. And I've said that people shouldn't do these things, but some people, if they do them, I don't feel that that is haram. I feel that the CBD in and of itself, if it was regulated, does have some positive effects as well. So, and then that is a personal responsibility. So then if somebody says, yeah, but I started smoking weed when I was 30, and or let's say even if it was regulated and now I've just become a lazy good for nothing, like I do nothing, I'm just so lethargic and I'm useless, then that is your own stupidity. And that is what, and you deserve to fall by the wayside if that's your attitude in life. If you don't care about yourself, why do you want others to care about you? So if a person takes something and they OD on, even if it isn't haram for them, like I don't believe people whose neuroplasticity is complete, and if it was regulated and they were taking it, I don't believe that's haram. But if they start overdoing it, and I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think they should do it, but I don't think it's haram. You see, there's a difference. If they start overdoing it and cause harm to themselves, then that is their own stupid wrongdoing. And that's like fatty foods, I guess. And things like if you start eating fatty foods and then you just become obese because you couldn't stop. Well, I mean, I know there's genetic factors in things like this as well, but you have to do something about it. Stop expecting the world to feel sorry for you. Get up and do something. Yes, a burger tastes nice. I'm eating burgers every now and then. I mean, now and then, but if I started eating burgers for every single meal, I mean, it's stupid to think I won't just turn into, obviously, just count the calories for God's sake. I mean, if I'm having a diet that's like, I don't know, 7,000 calories a day, 6,000 calories a day, 5,000 calories a day, and what am I doing to use that energy? I'm doing nothing. I just sit here and, I don't know, just go on the internet and what the hell? Or I'm a taxi driver, or I'm just stand at a shop, or then obviously I'm not burning 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day. So, yeah, so people, please be responsible for yourselves, okay? And I want to make that clear because I thought that's very important, that people, I definitely think that this younger generation are struggling with depression in some ways much more than my generation. And, I'm double the age of these people, and everybody can get a bit sad now and then, but still I see these people struggling so much, and I think like, wow, like, you've got it all, really, everything around you. You've got technology, you grow up in luxuries. I mean, we just grew up with slaps. I mean, any toys we got, if we got one toy, it was like, wow, we were over the moon. It was like, honestly, we had like a deprived childhood, and I see these people who grow up in very like kind of luxurious childhoods almost, and they suffer. So people, and anybody going through this depression, may Allah make things easy for them. My thoughts and du'as are with them. But look, do speak to people, speak to professionals, okay? There's even numbers that you can text. I mean, you can Google it. I've forgotten it now. Wazio, who's on here sometimes, I saw it on one of his posts, that if you text this number, somebody will anonymously text back, and you can, they will text back and you can discuss anonymously with them, sorry. And so, yeah, so there are a lot of services. And I do feel as well, I want to say that, look, I do feel as well that there has to be as well this willpower. But you do have it. Believe me, we all have it. Right, so it is there. Don't think that I don't have this willpower. You do have it. You just need to know that you have it. So yeah, God. So somebody said, look, he's saying weed is not haram for an adult. For an adult, I've said before, if it's regulated, it's not laced with these other things like heroin and crack and all this other kind of nonsense in there. I don't believe it's haram, but I don't advocate it, and I don't say it's a good thing. I don't say you should do it. I actually say don't do it. But if a person did it, I don't think, oh my God, he deserves to be in the hellfire because he took, or that this person has committed. God is angry with him because he's done this. I think that he's an adult. He has that freedom, or she has that freedom. So that's coming to the mukallaf thing. Would I feel that people whose neocortex isn't developed, that the Sharia hasn't? I think there's like a there would be a certain age, like let's say 18. A lot of the classic fuqaha did say 18 as well. I know the Shafi'iyya did say 15, but a lot of them did say 18 back then as well. So it isn't a modern thing. They would become responsible definitely by that age. So if they committed murder, or if they stole, or if they did things like this, they would be responsible. They couldn't say, well, this guy's neuroplasticity isn't complete. They'll be like, cha-cha. Oh, they'll be like, cha-cha, fold up the sleeves. Don't worry, we'll complete his neuroplasticity. It's like me as a kid. Abba, my neuroplasticity isn't complete. Huh? Allah, Allah. Tu ita ruk. Let me show you neuroplasticity. All right, so somebody said, why can't it be regulated for younger ones? It can be regulated, but their brain can't handle the psychedelics, or it can't handle psychoactive drugs. So this is why I'm saying that for young people, even just like medicine is regulated, but for young people, they don't give them certain medications because the body isn't as developed. Like their liver isn't as developed as an adult's liver. It can't handle it. The toxicity of certain drugs is too strong if your body is not developed. Right, so come on, people. Common sense, man. Let's move on. What is going on? Let's take some questions, people. Does 18 also count for prayer and fasting? Generally, the understanding is that Muslims tend to see that much sooner. So they tend to see, for prayer, they tend to see like pubescence. If a person is pubescent, they've attained puberty, that they should start praying by that stage. And fasting is when they're physically capable. They don't have to be 18, but they could be physically capable. So a child could be like, let's say 15, but yeah, he's capable of fasting, so he could fast. Yeah. So I hope that helps people. People, I didn't read any poetry today, yaar. Ye ho kya raha? I actually got hold of a poem, and I read this over the weekend. Actually, I came across it, and I thought, you know what? I gotta share this with you guys. Yaar, look at my love for you people. Wow, wow, wow. This is a new poet that I've come across. His name is Rahman Faris. I've never heard of him before, but I've read this and I thought, wah, wah. So it's called Sadaein Dete Hue or Khak Urate Hue. That whilst calling, whilst calling in the background for someone, and at the same time, like throwing dust, or making dust fly, as in like not caring. So there's like confusion. So सदाएं देते हुए और खाक उड़ाते हुए मैं अपने आप से गुजरा हूँ तुझ तक आते हुए. Wow, 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 people. That I've had to go through myself through and through, people. I had to go through even me to get to you. Allah, 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 Allah. फिर उसके बाद ज़माने ने मुझको रोन दिया. मैं गिर पड़ा था किसी और को उठाने हुए, किसी और को उठाते हुए. Wah, people, wah. This, see, the problem is when I have to stop and translate things, it ruins the flow, yeah, it ruins the flow. But so hopefully you guys can understand this by now. Kahani, Ghalib, I'm coming to your question, just un momento. कहानी ख़त्म हुई और ऐसी ख़त्म हुई कि लोग रोने लगे तालियां बजाते हुए. वाह 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 वाह. People, so this is he says, खरीदना है तो दिल को खरीद ले फौरन, खिलौने टूट भी जाते हैं आजमाते हुए. That if you want to buy something, he says, buy the heart, like buy my heart immediately. He says, after all, playing with toys, you'll just end up breaking them. Right. And his final, agar mile bhi to milta hai raah mein Faris, that even if we do meet this person now, we just meet him in the road, in the way to somewhere. Kahin se aate hue ya kahin ko jate hue. Allah, that's all we have left now. That when we meet each other, it's just either going somewhere or coming from somewhere. This poetry always has a way to touch the hearts. Ya Allah, Faisal says, Ya Allah, protect the ummah from these muftis that are trying to mislead us. Yet he's live watching. I like it. He's struggling. He's fighting with the feeling. He's fighting it. Don't fight it. Yeah, don't fight it. Right, so Ghalib has asked if females could extend their biological clocks, meaning their fertility windows, into their late 40s, what societal impact would that have? That's an interesting question. If women could extend... That said, there are women who do get pregnant into their 40s. But if they could extend it even more, I think they would have some impact. I mean, I think if science develops certain things, then I think that's great. It would obviously give them an opportunity to maybe develop a career first or do whatever they want and not have to worry about relationships or motherhood or things like this, and be able to pursue these things much later. I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting question. It's definitely an interesting question. Dervish Ottoman, ¿cómo estás? All right, muy bien, muy bien. All right. What's going on? Right, what's going on? ¿Dónde? Where were you, man? ¿Dónde fue? Right, but cool. You're here doing it. Right, let's go to this Harut and Marut issue, people. Right, now I'd been asked about this, let me just check. I'd been asked about, in Surah Baqarah, does the Quran speak about a story of two angels that come and they end up misguiding the people and they teach them magic? So this is so there's an ancient story that these two angels, they came, that God one day decided to that angels got into a debate. So a group of them said there's nothing special about humans, and a group of them ended up insulting humans and insulting Adam as well. And this is the story. And so God said to them that, look, you say this, but you don't have free will. But if you had free will, and then they say, no, we're angels, we are above human desires, and even if we had free will. So God says, okay, give me your best candidates. I love these kind of stories. God is like, okay, I'll tell you what then. I love the way they anthropomorphize God. Right, so God says to them, you know what? give me your best candidates. So they say we've got the two angels who are like epic amongst us. They're like the Karan Arjun. So, Dervish, you're doing it, man. Shukran. Right, so they're the Karan Arjun of these angels. Mere Karan Arjun aayenge. Mere Karan Arjun aayenge. So here it's Harut and Marut. Close. Karan Arjun, Harut, Marut. Right, so they're these two angels. So this is how the story goes. Thus, people, pay attention. So what happens is God sends down, somebody asks, am I Sunni? Yes, of course I'm Sunni. I'm not any other sect or anything. Right, so Harut and Marut get given desires and free will. They basically get given this kind of capacity to choose and have emotions and experiences and things like that. And then they get sent to earth. And then they're really pious and they're praying and they're telling people all these good things and it's all awesome. And along comes a beautiful woman, as they often do. And there goes piety out the window. You know, it's like there's a saying attributed to Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh that he said, ضَعَ الْعِلْمِ فِي أَفْخَاذِ النِّسَاءِ. He said that religious knowledge, when it came to learning knowledge, it was all good, but then it all got wasted between the thighs of women. People were like, shall I read or shall I read? Yaar, not like this book is going anywhere. So, or in the words of Ghalib, he says, मैं जानता हूँ सवाब तात और zuhad, that I know the reward of worship and obedience to God. I know the reward. Don't teach me the reward. I know. मैं जानता हूँ सवाब तात और zuhad, पर तबीयत इधर नहीं आती. Na munna na. You know, he says, my nature just doesn't incline that way, yaar. There isn't that. वो मजा नहीं आता यार. You know, like I have a choice. I could be indulging in what is it, heavenly delights here, or I could be standing up praying nafal. यार इसमें क्या मजा है? You know, to be standing. I could be standing, or my deputy here could be standing. I've got a choice. So Harut and Marut, they have along comes this beautiful woman. And some say, oh, her name was Zuhra or something. Basically, she's named after a planet or whatever, this name. Now, along she comes and she's got problems and they're pious people and they're like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. And then they're like, Toba, 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 Toba. And she says, I'm oppressed by my husband. I want you guys to kill my husband. So they say, Toba, Toba, Toba. ए पाप हमसे ना हो पाएगा. They say we cannot. हत्या हम ना ही कर सकते हैं बेटिया. We can't kill your husband. We can't do this. So, but now as the days go by, they fall more and more. They become more and more infatuated, as one does, as the effects of beauty on these frail hearts, right? So then they get infatuated. Then she comes again, says, please, will you do this? They say, no, you know, we can't kill. Na munna na. Na munni na. Right? So eventually she says, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a choice. How about you teach me the Ismul A'zam, which is the special word name of God, which is a hidden word, which if you teach me, I can do anything and become overpowering. I become a superhuman. Not even I have like divine powers almost. So they say, no, we can't teach you that either. So she says, look, okay, I'll tell you what. If you're ever ready, then you know where to find me at home. So this one day they turn up to her house because they can't. Yaar, ye raat aur ye duri. They're like Harut and Marut become obsessed, infatuated. Yeah, Majnoonu Layla, that kind of Devdas. यहाँ पे Devdas वाली हालत. It's like, नहीं, paro. So they turn up to this lady's house. This is how the story goes. This story is in the tafsir books, by the way, for God's sake, some tafsir books. Obviously, irresponsibly in some tafsir books. So now they turn up, and then she says to them, look, we really, we love you. Give yourself to us. Like, yaar, ho jaye, yaar. The loved and the beloved, we should become one. And she's like, no, the only way that's going to happen is you got to do one of these four. You've got to either murder my husband. So they say, Toba tan nasuha. Hada la yumkinuna. We can't do this. No podemos. So that's the first one. Second, she says, okay, I tell you what, if you worship my God, then we'll let you, you know what, you can have me. Wah, but iman pakka iman. So they said, nah, babwa, nah. Shirk, nah, hi kar sakte hum. So they're like, can't do shirk, we are pakke muwahid. We tawheed Allah. Right, so then at this stage, they go, okay, what should we do now? So she says the third choice is you teach me the magic word, the Ismul A'zam. With it, I can have magical powers. Say, nah, I can't. Nah, munni, nah. No. That would be irresponsible. That would be gross negligence. This one not nice, this one not nice. Oh, beautiful person. So they go, if we teach you that, we've been entrusted with the magic word, we can't teach anybody the magic word. So she goes, the last one is you got to have a drink with me. Una copa. Have toma, have some alcohol. You gotta drink some alcohol with me. So they go, yaar, ये शराब कोई इतनी बुरी चीज थोड़ी ना है. It's not that bad, यार. In the words of Ghalib छुटी शराब पर अब भी कभी कभी. So what it is they go, okay, la bas. What do you say? They go, let's, give us una copa. Let's have one, ho jaye, one glass. So she gives them some alcohol. And like many great things, never begin with a fruit salad. They always begin with alcohol. Have you ever heard of something epic happening and it began with, I don't know, a donut, or it began with a fruit salad? Na mumkin. La yumkin hada. Hada laysa fi hayyiz al-imkan. It always begins with this. In the words of Firak Gorakhpuri, he says, he's an epic poet from India. He says, he's passed away now, but he says, Haste khelte aaye the mein khane mein Firak, that we came into this drinking place happy, full of life. Haste khelte aaye the mein khane mein Firak, sharab pi chuke to sanjida ho gaye. That once we drank alcohol, we all of a sudden became serious. That why so serious? So anyway, once they drink alcohol, not only do they then start worshipping her gods because they get drunk, they also teach her the magic word and they kill her husband. So buy one, get three free. This one gratis, people, gratis. So when they taught her the magic word, they killed her husband. She was free. She says, you know what? I've got divine powers. She ends up turning into a celestial body in the sky where she resides today as a star or a planet in the sky. Vah, Modi, vah. This is the most preposterous story that we've ever heard. But this myth was going around. It was circulating. And people thought that this is the Harut and Marut that Allah is mentioning in the Quran. Okay, so some people actually affirmed this story, and what some people said is they affirmed half of it. So they said what they tried to do was say that, oh, you know what it is? No, the angels, when they taught the magic, they were telling them, don't do anything bad with it. So they tried to kind of give the angels a, like get them off the hook. So angels weren't bad guys, but they gave a caution. Like they did give the magic. Yaar, ho jata hai. You make a mistake, but they gave the responsibility. They said, but use it responsibly. I did give you the alcohol, but I said, drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. You might spill it. This one not nice. This one waste. So what had happened is So this is the story. Now this is absurd, people. Now I'm going to tell you the real understanding of what the Quran is actually saying. This story is nonsense. It's made up, right? But I'm going to give you the backdrop of what's been happening. You see, when the Israelites were taken captive to Babylon, there were several centuries they remained in Babylon, okay, which is Babel in Arabic. During you can't really say remain because several generations, but during their existence in Babylon, the Jewish inhabitants really developed this culture of magic, and they became incredibly kind of superstitious about these things, about demons, about splitting up. Let's use magic to do good, let's use magic to do bad. And I'm going to share with you as an example, there's been a lot of archaeological findings recently that have found what are called the magic bowls, okay, or the incantation bowls. So these bowls that you're seeing right here, these kind of like these utensils, this is from the Babylonian era. So a lot of these, like this, and hundreds of them of different kind of types, have been found around modern day Iraq, around places like Nineveh, other sites. You found a lot of these, and they've got in them, and they were Jewish, so they're known as Jewish magic bowls. So they would make them and write magic spells in them. And this is during their stay in Babylon. So this is before Jesus, hundreds of years before Jesus is even born. Okay. Now, you can see that they would draw figures. A lot of these were to prevent demons, prevent things like possession, but also to do with marriage. So you can see here that this on the right-hand side is a rabbinic divorce formula, which was found in the bowl. It was written in the bowl, so they would write them in kind of Hebrew, Aramaic, things like this. And there's been like many detailed studies that have now gone into these bowls and taken a look at them and shown that that how diverse they were, what they were being used for, things like this. Is very fascinating. Okay. Now, so this culture existed. And naturally, the rabbis and these people, because it was the rabbis and the priests that were doing this, it wasn't your common person who was providing incantations to divorce and separate, or to do. This was being done by the priesthood, the clergy, the rabbis, the rabbinic councils. They would naturally try to justify. So some of them said that this magic comes to us from Solomon, King David and King Solomon. King Solomon had all these magic powers, and he passed them on and he taught them. And some of them used to actually speak unfavorably, like kind of dismissively of Solomon, saying that, he was, in essence, he was a king, but he was a great king, but he was just a magician. He wasn't even a pious person. He was just interested in women. He was just interested in this. And this is transmitted. This is one of the hadith that is false, and it's transmitted in Sahih Bukhari about Solomon just having, wanting to sleep with 99 of his slave girls and things like this. So this is the kind of culture. It's coming to us from these Jewish, what we call Israeliyat, this kind of Israelite culture. Okay. Now, and this is, like I'm saying, half a millennia, before Jesus. This is like hundreds and hundreds of years before Jesus. So this is how far back it's going. Now, some of these people, what they did is they wanted to justify, like I said, that one, what they're doing, but also not make the angels look bad in this story. So they're saying, look, there used to be these two angels, but the angels were good, and they did tell people don't misuse this, but people did it. And today when we're giving it to you, we're giving it to you so you don't misuse it. But they know people are going to try and misuse it anyway. This is the backdrop. I wanted you to understand that. Now, that is, in essence, nonsense. But this is what we're dealing with. Now, when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was teaching the Quran and stories within the Quran to Muslims, there was a Jewish person. So there is a riwayah that Ibn Jarir brings one from Shahr ibn Hawshab, and there's other riwayat as well. But it's along this line, okay, that a Jewish person said to the Prophet and about him that he, look at the stories he tells and the people he speaks of, he mixes the good with the bad, and he mixes people like Solomon, who was a magician, with them, who practiced the dark arts and evil arts. So in relation to this kind of a myth that was going around, Allah reveals in the Quran, where you have Surah Baqarah, verse 102, that وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ, and they follow what the shayateen, and here shayateen does not mean demons, it means the shayateen ins, that the devils and those who spread mischief on the earth have said about the kingdom of Solomon. وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانَ, and Sulaiman did not disbelieve, Allah says. And then Allah says, وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا, it was these mischievous devils of people who disbelieved. And then Allah goes on to say, وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلَ هَارُوتَ وَمَارُوتَ. You see, this ma is nafiya. And this is in the, there's a very good tafsir that I often do encourage anybody who can speak Urdu to kind of take a look at. There's very few things I encourage sometimes that are religious from the Urdu scene. But this, you can't see it. It's called Al-Urwatul Wuthqa by Maulana Abdul Karim Al-Athari. And he was a student of Inayatullah Wazirabadi. Now this, he mentions the same thing here beginning. This is, what I'm saying is spot on what is being said here in this tafsir as well by Maulana Abdul Karim Al-Athari, that he mentions that this ma is nafiya, that وَمَا أُنزِلَ, that there was nothing revealed upon two angels at Babylon, Harut and Marut. There was nothing. This it's negating this story. It's not saying, you see, what happened is many mufassirin took this ma, because ma in Arabic can mean no for a past tense verb. So you say, I didn't do this, like ma dhahabtu, I didn't go. But it can also be a connective, like in English we say that. So if I say, this is the pen that I bought, or which I bought, or the person that said such and such. So this connective, what you have, al-ma al-mawsula, what they call in Arabic, many mufassirin thought this is that ma. So Allah is saying, and that, not we didn't reveal, and that which was revealed upon the two angels, Bibabila Harut wa Marut. So they taught this as an affirmative. And because especially this story, this myth already existed in the background, So they just kind of went with it. And some of them didn't go with it all the way, they just went halfway. And Allah says, وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ. Now this وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ, that they would not teach anybody until they said, beware, we are a trial for you, so do not disbelieve. فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مِنْهُمْ مَا يُفَرِّقُونَ بِهِ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ. And people would learn from them what they would split bihi. They would bihi. Bi is the Arabic word meaning with it. That they would split with it what is a couple, a husband and wife. Now, وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحْدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Now this quote before that, this is a quote, as Maulana Abdul Karim Athari says that as well in his tafsir. He highlights that this is a quote. So Allah is saying that, and it was not revealed upon two angels, Bibabil Harut wa Marut, then in speech marks, that we do not teach you anything except it is a trial for you, and we tell you do not disbelieve. But yet they learnt from them what they split with it between couples and relationships. End of speech marks. So this part is a quote. What the Jewish people or the other Israelites were saying was said by the two angels, and Allah is saying it was not revealed, negating this story. And then at the end Allah says, and nobody, they would not be harming anybody anyway. Nobody would be harming anybody with anything, even these people who have been practicing this Jewish or this kind of magic thing and these kind of like pots or these other things, except with the will of God. Meaning that sometimes people, because with magic, when you say magic, there were things like potions, and there were things like mood stabilizers, aphrodisiacs, there was poison, certain things that weaken people, because that was also considered magic potions, and they did cause harm because it was an actual product. Like if I give you something that changes your state of mind or does something, that God said whatever does happen ultimately is by the will of God, meaning that Allah has by his will enabled people to make these choices, to do these actions and face these consequences. So that is the qissa, the story of Harut and Marut. Okay, so it's not that this story I told you before, this love story of two angels, and everybody then gets confused that some people try to do away with the love story part but keep the angels, and the angels taught people. So that would make no sense. Why would God send two angels to teach people how to mess each other up and then say, oh, but by the way, I'm just teaching you this, but don't do any bad with it? That's just an evil trick. That's just like making God sound sadistic. That, look, by the way, people, I know that there's a lot of crazies out here, but what I'm doing today is I'm just distributing free weapons, okay? I know you've got a lot of rivalries. I know you're really annoyed with each other. But I, out of the goodwill, humanitarian, I'm just distributing weapons. Don't use them for anything silly, duh. Like, this is preposterous, people. This is absurd to say that God would be doing things like this. So this is what it is. Yeah. And the problem is we have had too much influence of so many cultures that we've just kind of gone with it. So in some of the tafsir books you will find these stories, but this is why you find them, because they were in circulation and some people just accepted it and said like, oh, that's interesting, maybe it is. You understand? So I hope that sheds some light. So to sum it up, the Quran is negating their quotation that they used to say this, that the Jewish scribes, the Jewish rabbis that did support the magic rituals and cultures used to say that there were two angels and this is what they would say, and Allah is negating it, saying, وَمَا أُنزِلَ, that nothing was revealed upon these two angels. That, in my understanding, is the best interpretation to go with. If you do want to go with the other interpretations, you can, if you want to say, no, I feel this ma here is a connective, and it means, and that which was revealed upon the two angels, Harut and Marut, that they used to tell people, don't do this, but I'm teaching you magic anyway, and, this is a test from God. I mean, you can do it, but you can go with that. It's, it's a free world. I just feel that doesn't do justice, and it makes God, in poor light. It doesn't do justice to Allah and His message. So people, I hope that helps. All right. So what is going on? Mufti, why don't Sunni muhaddith transmit from Shia imams? Yeah, I mean, they don't really. I mean, this is the whole Sunni Shia thing, isn't it? What is going on Facebook, people? Number of viewers is 69. Right, this is my timings. I do promise people I will, fix up my times. But this is why I could never be an imam or anything. I mean, to be honest, I couldn't be an imam anyway. Just looking at me. But yeah. Muhammad Shaban is watching. All right, Shaban is in the house, people. People ask me sometimes, they want to reach out, they want to meet up or things like this, or they've got something to discuss. Always reach out to Muhammad Shaban. He kind of handles a lot of that stuff for me, manages that stuff. Reach out to him and inshallah I'll set it up. Another thing, Shaban doesn't, like I've had some people complaining that, oh, I'm getting blocked on comments and Shaban is doing this. Shaban doesn't manage that kind of admin stuff like that. He doesn't block comments. He doesn't do stuff like that. So there are other people doing that, but it's not Shaban, just in case, because I had somebody say that to me very recently, that Shaban is blocking comments for them on this, and I'm like, but he's not the admin on anyway, right? So Hazrat Chuff Pir Sahab, I think we need to send Chuff Pir Sahab to Wuhan. We need him to go Chuff, woo, Chuff, woo, Chuff, woo, ha, woo, ha, woo, ha. That would be, honestly, it would be amazing if he did that. So somebody said, is tafsir of Ibn Kathir full of nonsense? No, it's not full of nonsense, but it does have sometimes some strange things in there. Vigilant 2 says, Mufti, I'm your second biggest hater. Right, well, there you go. You just got blocked. Right. So, anyway, right. I think it's Masala time, people. Mufti Masala. So, peoples, let me just see, peoples, what is going on? This one. Let me just, this one not nice, my friend. Alright, so, I'm trying to find, यार, ये हो क्या रहा है, यार, ماذا يحدث. Right, so, right, we're coming to it, people. I'm almost there. Un momento. This is the Masala. Alright, so, people, what's been going on is, I came across this. This is, those of you who know Sheikh Yaqoubi, Sheikh Muhammad Yaqoubi, prominent Syrian scholar, has his own Sufi tariqah. And to be fair, as far as, I have to say, as far as, Sufi scholars go, so as far as any kind of Sufi orders go, he's definitely, if somebody said to me, I want to be part of an order, I have to be part of a Sufi order, like they felt that they have to, then I would probably say, yeah, definitely somebody like, Sheikh Yaqoubi, because at least he's a scholar and he is level-headed. He's spoken against things like extremism, but he's also relevant. It's not just, many people might do things, but he's reasonably within, to some extent, he's reasonably relevant. That said, I do think people overdo it with him, and I'll come to that in a moment. But I think as far as he's concerned, at least he has an ilmi side to him. He's concerned about knowledge. He's concerned about certain things. He tells his people to study and this and that. I do think he likes a bit of the the protocol. The acha. I want my fans and supporters, and I guess who doesn't? Huh? That's people will say, but who doesn't like having all these fans and supporters and this Pir Muridi? Allah, Allah, Allah. But what's more interesting is he's being attacked. And something, look, I don't mind people having issues with different people. Have got issues with me. I, in the past, raised an issue with Sheikh Yaqoubi when he issued the Bukhari, and there were certain statements, and I felt they were misleading. Having issues with people is not an issue. Everybody can have it. You're entitled to your opinion. The problem is when it's just a sectarian game. So what's happened is there's this board that are the defenders of the Islamic board for defending Sunni beliefs. So they had issued this statement to Sheikh Yaqoubi that after his khatam and that they wrote a letter to him in the English language, and they demand, as you can see in bold at the bottom, this is the board of ulama and mashayikh for protecting the beliefs of Islam. Oof, this is the federal board, people, the feds. This is the feds, right? So of Islam and Ahl Sunnah. And it happens to be in Bradford. If ever Islam was to be in danger, or Ahl Sunnah was to be in danger, I want you all to know that there is a board, people, that is there ready with the capacity to deal with the crisis on the level of COVID-19. And that board is based in Bradford. So what they said in their letter, right? So this is some examples of what was said in this letter. Basically, this letter was just taking digs at him, trying to bully him. So they're trying to bully him, saying to him that, look, why are you not calling certain people kafir? Why did you praise Mufti Taqi for? How dare you praise Mufti Taqi as a Deobandi? How dare you not call Shia kafir? Why are Shia not kafir? You need to declare Shia kafir. So there's all these things about call Shia kafir, call Deobandis, at least call the Akabir, the leaders of the Deobandis kafir. Ashraf Ali Thanwi should be called a kafir. This is Nanotwi should be called a kafir. Rashid Ahmad Gangohi should be called a kafir. Salafis, Wahhabis should be called kafir. The study Quran that was done and praised by Hamza Yusuf. Why haven't you condemned the study Quran? And why haven't you condemned Hamza Yusuf for praising it? There was a full-fledged bullying session. Full-fledged, people. Full swing. That why haven't you done this? How dare you? And this is some of the signatories on here. Now, to be honest, I read a name Bandialvi, and I did find a clip to do with Bandialvi, and I'll share that in a moment. The only other name I was surprised to see here that I recognized was Pir Saqib Shami Saab. To be honest, I am surprised that Pir Saqib Shami has put his name to something like this. Maybe they put it without actually fully kind of validating it with him, because I assume, I could be wrong, I assume Saqib Shami is usually, more intelligent than to get involved in these kind of things and put his name to these kind of things. That's the impression I have of him. Unless he is happy to put his name on this kind of stuff, I don't know. But I would have thought that. So I was quite surprised to see his name there. The other names, all these people, I've never really heard of them. I don't know who they are. I've heard of that Bandialvi Saab. Now, but I was trying to track down this board, people. That who are this board that is bullying the hell? They're trying to bully Sheikh Muhammad Yaqoubi. And it was really difficult, like I mentioned, tracking them down. Especially since Bradford, you got to go to Bradford. Northwest has got some coronavirus cases. It's not easy, people. No es fácil. No es fácil. Es muy, muy difícil. Pero, we did get... I want us to know that we are in safe hands, people. We are in safe hands, right? Because the Islamic Board for Protection of Sunni Beliefs has got this. They've got this, people, right? Just chill out, right? They've got this, okay? So, and if we listen to their rules on who we can call, who we can't, why are Deobandis not kafir? Why are Shia not kafir? Why are Ahl Hadith Salafis not kafir? Even Sheikh Akram Nadwi, they had one of the pages. By the way, the letter was like 10 pages long or something, or 12, I think. It's like a booklet. They go, why is Sheikh Akram Nadwi not being called? He's a deviant. He's a Wahhabi. How dare you praise Sheikh Akram Nadwi? How dare you? If we don't get an answer, if we... And then I did that name, with that name, that's the only other name that I did recognize, because he has a clip of it's an audio clip on YouTube of a debate that he's having with some Deobandis. And he has the ultimate strategy, people, the ultimate strategy. And it's one that once you get it in your head, you cannot forget it, people. So it's quite a tricky one, because once you're going to hear this, you're not going to forget. Life will never be the same, people. And here it is. This is a debate going on. So they're debating about Barelvi's Deoband.
ये शामिल नहीं है इस किताब में, ये नहीं, ये बातें शामिल नहीं है।
1 2 3 करो इसके बारे में।
आपकी बात पर हम
1 2 3 करो। 1 2 3
आपकी बात पर हम
ऐसे ही नहीं जाने देंगे।
1 2 3
1 2 3 किया,
1 2 3 करो। ये इबारत कासिम लफ्ज़ी की हम दिखा सकते हैं, हम जिम्मेदार हैं। 1 2 3 करो।
1 2 3 करो।
ये कहाँ जा रहा है? ये कहाँ जा रहा है?
1 2 3
No, we never said
1 2 3 4 5 6 Oh, people, oh my God. Honestly, we could not, something? Wallahi, we couldn't make this stuff up, This is how absurd this stuff is. That people are trying to bully grown men into beliefs. And just because they're hating on this guy, you better agree. 1 2 3 karo. 1 2 3. 1 2 3. People, you're never gonna forget that now. That is the ultimate argument. 1 2 3. ये जाने नहीं देंगे आपको, हम जाने नहीं देंगे। 1 2 3 करो। 1 2 3 1 2 3. This, oh my God. So that, I think, was the one of the senior figures of the defenders of our faith. I, for one, and absolutely, I feel safe knowing that the defenders of our faith are out there, and really it's just an issue of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Oh, sorry, do I have to do it in English? 1 2 3 1 2 3. Oh man, that's hilarious, man. Honestly, I don't know what I think his actual point there was he wanted them to list certain things, but he kept going on in the debate about saying, I think initially he said, I want you to list certain 3 things, and then we'll debate. But then he kept saying, just do 1 2 3, do 1 2 3. But coming to this point, people, when do we learn that you can't bully people? I mean, these defenders of the faith, for God's sake, defenders assemble. 1, 2, 3, 3 pe, on 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, assemble. So I came across that and I was like, oh my God, this is so ridiculous. How, and obviously Sheikh Yaqoubi hasn't responded to them, which he shouldn't at all, because, that would just be ridiculous. But seriously, yeah, that's the one, the old Madhuri Dixit. Ek, do, teen. This was the root, the root. You have to return to the asal, to the root. So people, but on the same token, I wanted to say that people need to calm down as well with some of these things. I was reading, I think somebody replying about Sheikh Yaqoubi, saying that, look, oh my God, Sheikh Yaqoubi is such a noble person, which, fair enough, he may be a very noble person. And I do believe he's, a respectable person. But then they wrote like 5 pages exalting and saying that, I've witnessed his miracles and I've witnessed his, oh my God, he's like Sheikh Yaqoubi, he's like, and they said, oh my God, I saw him read the Shama'il, which is only a few pages. It's in 4 hours. He read the Shama'il in 4 hours. It was from his karamat. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. I thought 4 hours. Can somebody pass me whatever it is they're smoking? Am I the only one sober here? It's like, yeah, this one not fair, this one. I say now, 1, 2, 3 karo, mujhe bhi do. Okay. So anyway, man, this was the thing, that people need to be a bit balanced as well. Because you see, sometimes when you overdo it, what you do is you provoke people to kind of hate on those people. So if you start going on about this person is like, oh, he's up there. Like I had somebody say to me that, Sheikh Yaqoubi, his Arabic is so magnificent. It's so magnificent. It's as magnificent as the pre-Islamic Arabic. I thought, ooh, the gup is way too much. यार ये जरा गप को नीचे कीजिए, कुछ ज़्यादा फेंक दिए हैं आप. I was like, next time you want to blag that much, just tell me so I can prepare. So I can kind of like put on that, oh really? Oh wow. Like, calm down for God's sake. So people, I think with that, right, so what is going on? Is Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayya the current don of Maliki knowledge? No, I don't think so. But Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayya is definitely a Maliki scholar. He's definitely a great scholar. I don't say he's the don. Somebody asked, how is that bullying? You see, asking for clarity, because I'll tell you why it's bullying. Because what you're doing is you're just pushing the agenda of sectarianism on the back of trying to say, if you don't, we will declare you a deviant. And I believe that some of them are prepared to call him a kafir, and others might say he's no longer a Sunni and he's now out of the fold of the mainstream Islam. Why? Because he simply refuses to give comments on certain people's beliefs. Like, if he refuses to call certain people a kafir, who on earth put anybody in charge anyway? This ain't, to these people I tell them, this ain't your dad's deen. You chuck out who you want and you bring in who you want. It's because of this behavior people are sick to death of this religion, or of any religion. So we need to kind of calm ourselves. This deen is from Allah. It's not for us to we can teach that, look, this is how we feel the main teachings of Islam are. But it's not our duty to chuck him out of the deen and chuck her out of the deen and then chuck everybody, until there's just me and my village left in there. Right, so... Right, so people, I think with that, I think we should wrap it up. It's been awesome, as always. Whoa, is that the time? You know what? This is getting later and later. Guys, you've really... much love for really sticking it through. You've been awesome, as always. Awesome questions. People that are trolling, well, we're finishing anyway on here, so... but you will be blocked in future sessions, so don't do that. Any questions, reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook Messenger, but Instagram I do check more often, but I do try and vary. So keep your studies going. Remember your daily dose of laughter, people. Say a kind word for me as well in your du'as, and other than that, take very good care of yourselves. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, people. All right, man. Over and out, people. Over and out. Hasta luego. Right.